A healthy relationship, by the source's definition, is one where sex is just the culminating expression of feelings that are already really robustly established between partners.
Not just on a physical level.
No, on emotional and energetic levels, too. This means things like shared values, mutual respect, and a real synergy of spirits.
So the foundation of genuine affection can be reinforced by something as simple as, I don't know, finishing an everyday task together, having a vulnerable conversation.
Or even just appreciating the unique, irreplaceable presence of a loved one. The relationship is about a shared reality, not just shared pleasure.
It sounds like a lot of effort.
It is, but the sources argue that a strong connection like that justifies all the searching, the waiting, the effort you put in to achieve it. It's what brings you feelings of bliss and elevation and ease when you're dealing with life's constant challenges.
Because you have a true partner.
Exactly.
And conversely, faking affection, say, to gain wealth or status or even just temporary physical satisfaction, the source calls that completely counter-effective.
It ensures alienation. It just turns the relationship into a transaction.
How so?
The whole dynamic feels forced, like a burden or like a performance where the people involved are just alienated from their true feelings and from each other. It's like being forced to wear a suit that's 3 sizes too small. You just constantly feel constricted.
Whereas a genuine attachment built on trust, admiration, a mutual desire to give pleasure, not just take it, that's scientifically proven to be beneficial.
Hugely beneficial for both partners.
But how does love boost the immune system? I mean, really?
It's directly linked to reversing that chronic stress we talked about earlier. Genuine attachment drastically reduces the level of cortisol and other stress hormones in the body.
So less stress means a stronger immune system.
Immediately more robust. The positive effects are just. They're multiple. Faster healing, massive improvement in mood, a sustained feeling of belonging, deep contentment, boosted confidence, general happiness, and real, genuine hope for the future.
Okay, let's pivot now to the future proposed approach to sexuality, moving past this current state of manipulation. The sources suggest it has to become an open topic, accepted as completely natural without all the excessive parading or sensationalism.
And that society will finally overcome what it calls the primitive shock of even mentioning it.
Which would require a totally updated educational strategy, right?
A fully updated one for future generations, and tailored specifically by age group and emotional readiness. For younger kids, the instruction has to be simple, non-judgmental. You just answer that sex happens when grown-ups who aren't related love and feel attracted to each other.
And for adolescents?
The approach becomes way more comprehensive. It blends the physical with the psychological. They'll be taught the anatomic mechanisms, principles, and processes of sex, alongside detailed instruction on how to ensure physical and emotional safety.
And crucially, the long-term emotional effects.
Yes, the effects it has on the partners. It will be stressed over and over that while there are immense benefits to sexual expression, there are also profound responsibilities. Responsibilities regarding safety, consent, and emotional care.
This emphasis on building emotional culture seems to be the key to navigating all relationships, romantic or otherwise.
It absolutely is. The source recognizes that not every two people are compatible. Rejection is a natural, necessary part of life. It just means you need to search in a different direction.
Right.
They stress that studying empathy, emotional culture, and self-worth is necessary for handling vulnerability, conflict, or heartache without falling into that stress cycle we mentioned.
And living as an independent, emotionally self-sufficient individual is presented as being just as important as finding a partner. This focus on self-sufficiency, it really sets the stage for the source's pretty strong critique of marriage as an institution.
The source is extremely precise here. It is not critiquing the religious or spiritual or cultural ceremony of commitment. The target of the critique is only the legal construct of marriage.
And it's called?
An institution that unnecessarily complicates and monetizes an otherwise natural interaction.
Okay, wait, I have to push back on that a bit. When the source says it monetizes the relationship, what are they actually talking about? Because for most people, the legal structure isn't about love. It's about asset protection, shared health insurance, child custody rights if things go south.
And that is the common societal view. But the material really challenges the necessity of tying those critical protections to an emotional bond. It refers to the monetization through complex divorce laws, the legal structure of alimony, and the mandatory involvement of the state in dividing up assets.
I see.
It transforms a personal relationship into a complicated business contract the second you sign the papers.
And the source uses that memorable quote, telling a beloved, "I love you so much that I want to involve the state and government in our relationship." It just sounds ridiculous.
That quote perfectly sums up the source's skepticism about the emotional purpose of civil marriage. The text states very explicitly that civil marriage has never been, isn't, and never will be a guarantee for fidelity or commitment.
The logic is pretty compelling.
It is. If the affection and attraction are real and sincere and the partners are mature and prepared, legal bonds are hardly needed to express and uphold that connection. The force implies we should handle things like assets and children through different, non-emotional legal constructs.
Finally, let's turn to procreation. The source addresses the massive current world population, around 7.9 billion. And from that standpoint, it considers it unreasonable and irresponsible for a couple to have more than 2 kids to continue their bloodline.
Though they do stress this is a strictly personal choice. It's not a mandate.
Right.
But regardless of the number of children, the emphasis is placed so heavily on parental responsibility, and it links right back to that emotional culture we discussed. Parents must ensure an appropriate and stimulating environment
Teach the child to be curious and inquisitive.
and provide the psychological tools they need to be a creative problem solver.
And crucially, encourage acceptance of people from diverse backgrounds as part of this global society, preparing them to engage with the world outside their immediate family.
It's all about ensuring the next generation is equipped not just biologically, but emotionally and psychologically to navigate complexity and, importantly, resist manipulation.
This has been a really complex deep dive into material that just relentlessly challenges so many societal norms and expectations.
It does.
We started with the innate, chemically potent biological drive for connection. We examined how that drive is just ruthlessly exploited by commercial interests to bypass our critical thought.
And then we reviewed the contrasting benefits of seeking lust, which leads to that vicious cycle, versus genuine, emotionally invested love, which provides true contentment.
It's a stark contrast.
And if the source's fundamental claim is correct, that the most direct way of circumventing critical thought is through immediate, intense emotional investment, then we have to apply that critical lens everywhere.
Not just when we see an ad.
Not at all. In all our personal decisions regarding partnership, affection, and commitment, that's the awareness we need to cultivate to stay out of that moral gray area.
Which raises an important question for you to take away and consider. If, as the sources claim, legal mechanisms aren't guarantees of fidelity or love and should ideally be separate from emotional commitments, what societal or personal anxieties related to security, loss, or financial control are we really trying to satisfy by involving the legal system in our most intimate emotional decisions?